kisses from the princess. Life passed before Princess Alina's eyes as if veiled by a fine cloak. She rode through the city in a carriage, looking out at the streets from behind a thin mauve curtain. Her father, a wealthy and powerful king, had a long list of things Alina couldn't do, such as being seen in public, talking to commoners, going anywhere alone, or eating with anyone. The royal castle was the place where Alina could move most freely, but she was not allowed to venture outside often. She had the most beautiful garments ever seen, yellow dresses with gold embroidery, resplendent lilac and silver trim, and the purest white inlaid with pearls. Even so, she felt imprisoned under those heavy fabrics, as if she were a caged animal, despite the vastness of the castle and the wonder of the green gardens, full of trees and fountains. There were few people in the royal castle with whom Alina could speak, and even fewer with whom she was permitted to converse. Among the privileged few was Dr. Oswin, a tall, imposing man with a thick black beard, and the kindest, most noble heart in the region. Of the people Alina was able to interact with, Dr. Oswin's company was the one she enjoyed the most. Needless to say, she wasn't supposed to, but Oswin had taught the princess everything he knew about medicine, and Alina often helped him in his laboratory to develop new remedies. The king had no knowledge of these activities. For him, the only relevant thing was Alina's soul. While her earthly life and future marriage were important, it was even more crucial that her daughter's spirit be at peace. For this reason, the young princess spent much of her time praying and learning about her God. Religion was the only way for Alina to communicate with her people. Princess Alina had a second vocation apart from medicine. She loved to write prayers, which her father, proud of her talent and faith, allowed her to distribute among the population, thanks to the new printing press he had recently acquired. Alina knew it wasn't a highly effective way to assist the helpless and needy people. Nonetheless, it was something she could do to fill her time and hopefully make a difference in someone's life. This is how Alina's life went on in her glass cage, praying, writing prayers for the people, inventing medicines with the doctor, and tending the garden they had created together to provide herbs for their remedies. Alina's existence flowed from day to day without major disturbances until a severe epidemic broke out in the city. A virus spreading like wildfire was killing much of the city's population. She learned of all this through the doctor, as since the outbreak began, the king had forbidden his daughter from leaving the house, even in her carriage. Secluded in the castle, Alina worked day and night with Dr. Oswin to find a cure for the dangerous disease threatening to wipe out the population of her city and country. With access to powerful resources, the help of others, and their own privileged minds, they devised a possible solution. It might not eliminate the disease permanently, but it could prevent its further spread and protect those who had not yet contracted it. The great problem that Alina and the doctor faced once they had their medicine project was that the king had no knowledge of the experiments they were carrying out. He would not agree to his own daughter and the doctor putting themselves at the service of the people. After thinking about it for a while, and once they had created enough medication for a significant portion of the population, Alina came up with an idea that could allow them to get help to the people. The herbal ointment they had developed could be dried and flattened so that it looked like a sheet of paper. They carried out this task with the help of the printing press and transcribed Alina's typical prayers onto the medicine. As she explained to her father, during a crisis like the one they were experiencing, the town needed their prayers for guidance more than ever, and it was vitally important that they reach as many places across the country as possible. The plan seemed perfect, except for a small complication. Getting the word out that the new prayers were indeed medicine would not be a difficult task. The downside lay in preventing the population from mistaking any old prayers they might have for medicine, and believing that they were treating disease when they were only applying watered-down paper to their skin. They needed an identifier that would make it possible to distinguish the medicinal prayers from the rest that the princess had previously sent. A sign that not only differentiated this prayer, but also reminded the people how much the princess loved them, despite the fact that she could never be near them. That's why it occurred to her that the perfect gesture would be a kiss depicted on the back of the medicines, a sign that they were the prayers containing the poultice, and that they were also filled with all the affection of the princess. With the help of the maids who worked in the castle, painting everyone's mouths with Alina's favourite lilac, they dedicated themselves to pressing their lips onto each of the prayers, leaving the imprint on the medicine. It was hard work, but together they managed to prepare the first batches of the medicine for shipment from the castle. The king believed that it was an excessive gesture for the whole town to see his daughter's lips embossed on a piece of paper, but since the health situation in the region was very critical, he was persuaded that there was nothing wrong with it. Shipments of the princess's kisses began to leave the castle and spread throughout the country. The doctors were aware that the prayers were actually medicine. The treatment had to be applied to both healthy people and those already infected. Although more lives were lost, the ointment created inside the castle seemed to be working. The epidemic could be contained, and numerous lives were spared. The king remained oblivious to what was happening in his own castle. Once the disease was reduced to almost zero, the princess thought it would be a waste not to take advantage of this new method to deliver other medicines to the population in need. She developed a code with the doctor that, depending on the colour of the lips, indicated which remedy was applied. From that moment on, the princess's kisses were viewed as a true blessing, and those cured or saved by these medicines never forgot this mysterious member of the royal family.